Hi, welcome to Demo Garage. I'm Steven, and in today's episode we're going to be talking about the dash and the center console and what I've done to restore or change it from original. This is a project I started quite a while ago, so some of the clips are pretty older and were taken when a lot of other things were going on at the same time. So you'll probably see some other projects completed, and maybe there's a video about it already and maybe there isn't, but I have a bunch of footage still in the can to edit. So let me show you what the dash and center console look like. Thanks. Okay, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this footage, and I have entirely too many projects going on this vehicle at the same time. But yeah, I'm taking this because I have the tack out, and my intention is to convert it to new technology, and I'm waiting for the new circuit board, and I'm definitely doing a video on that. But this thing is disconnected, you know, I've got it open. I have purchased a new wiring loom for this thing, and I haven't mentioned it before, but my intention is to have this thing put together, drivable, reliable, to drive down to San Diego from Orange County for a British car show in October. And it is now early parts of August, and I'm concerned about taking on too much. I got to get this thing drivable. So I don't know if I'm going to actually install the wiring harness before that time period. It's a possibility, but I'm not really sure. But everything's bothering me. I thought one of the things I might do is, I think all the grounds are bad on this. Maybe I redo the grounds. Maybe I do something with this toilet seat padding. You have to watch an earlier video to get that reference, but I'm definitely cleaning up the tachometer, and I thought maybe one of the things I could do is, even if I put it back, I can make the connections a little bit more reliable, and I can clean up the speedometer. So I'm disconnecting switches and reconnecting them back, and I'm labeling them so I can at least put it back the way I had it. But maybe I can do something about this dash and the part that fits here. Ugh. So again, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with this video, but I'm taking it so you can see some progress, and I'll bring you back. Okay, well, here's the dash and center pad, and they weren't too bad taken off. I took them off because I wanted to do a little work on the wiring behind there, trying to get some stuff working and some random wires maybe pulled out. I'm concerned about some sort of an electrical issue, but this may be the time to recover these panels. And it wouldn't be, maybe I can do something with the these labels down here. They look okay, I guess, in this light, but they're not in the best condition. And at some point, this dash had a radio in it, and I probably won't be putting one in, but I am really surprised at the construction of this dash. Yeah, it's not the most professional thing I've ever seen. So at a minimum, I'm gonna be maybe filling in this hole before I recover it, and then I'll be taking these pads off to see if there's anything that I can do to make them look a little better. And then whatever I do with covering, I'll probably do the same material on this part. Try and make that shift boot a little better. Not really sure what these two things are. Maybe it's an attempt to kick this up big enough so that the cigarette or the ashtray has somewhere to go. I'm not really sure. I have to give it some thought and take a look at the car and see if they had some sort of a function I can figure out. But yeah, so here's the dash and the center pad. I'll bring it back. Okay, so I'm taking on so many projects all at once. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to use this clip, whether it be rewiring the dash, recovering the puffy, what I call 80s toilet seat material. As you can see, maybe you didn't see the other videos, but that's what it reminds me of anyway. Or maybe this is a topic all of its own. I'm shooting this video because I want to describe what I believe to be the dash illumination from the factory. And we've got this metal plate, and it fits back here and houses obviously the wipers and washers switch. And it's got this acrylic plastic down at the bottom that doesn't really extend past the plate, but maybe somehow light was supposed to shine into it, illuminating the labels, which are difficult to see because the plastic is now cracked. It's kind of interesting that the thickness of the plastic is just the bottom, so this thing's mounted in the back of the dash at, you know, somewhat of an angle. It's not very noticeable with the puffy dash, but yeah, I don't like it, and I'm exploring options in my head on how to do it different. You know, what's interesting is that on this driver's side switch, the plastic actually covers the labels. I don't know if you can see that. But over here in the center dash, which is quite a few of the other switches, this plastic does extend further, and there was kind of a bulb on either side, you know, kind of shining on that, and I guess there would be some sort of transmission of light through there. And then, so the plastic is below the foil label on this side. So, yeah, I happen to have a laser, and I'm exploring options in my head about maybe making a new version of this. Maybe, I'm not a huge fan of putting LEDs, illumination, into the gauges themselves, but I might try and incorporate some sort of an LED into a new plastic design to try and shine light onto these two data plates. And then I'm not a fan of that silver, so I think what I might try and do is I might try and anodize or paint this surface again, and then use my laser to burn in these new labels. So that's my thought. And then, well, I got everything already disconnected, so this is the time to recover this dash. And I'll find, I haven't thought too much, maybe I'll do a different color, an accent color. Maybe I do some sort of a contrasting vinyl texture, but I've already got the basket weave on the door panels, maybe I do that, I'm not really sure yet. But what I do know is I'm not gonna incorporate this heavy duty padding that gives it this crazy padded aspect. So yeah, so I shall bring you back when I have more to talk about on this subject. Thanks. Okay, well, I'm committing myself. Not a smart thing, but that's what I'm doing. All right, I'll bring you back when I've got it all taken off. Okay, I've got this covering on this dash just about whipped. I haven't done anything with the glove box yet. Looks like the hinge is actually just a piece of plastic. It was stapled to both the door and the dash bottom face here. So you can see there was about a bazillion staples removed. Only managed to stab myself a couple of times, so doing well. A note that I think is interesting is TVR didn't appear to use the correct size screws on anything. Almost every screw I pulled out here has had a nut included as kind of a thick washer. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, so whenever I'm taking stuff apart, I'm going to be substituting with the correct length materials, and in situations like this, I'm probably going to use stainless screws maybe. On that note, these staples appear to have some sort of a copper coating on them. They are magnetic, but the copper coating has done a good job, at least in our US climate, and Michigan has got some winters, so not upset with the condition of the staples holding this together. But so this is kind of an unboxing. Let's see here if I can do this one-handed. My intention is to, do I still have a staple on this one? Feels like I do. Yep, look at that. One-handed, let's see. All right. Okay. I challenge all of you to make a video talking, trying to make sense, and staying in focus. Oh, there's another staple, but I think I got it out. So looks like I would need to pop this out as well. That's going to probably take more than one hand, but my intention, and it looks glued on as well. So this is definitely not a one-handed operation, but I've just about got this covering whipped, and I shall bring you back at a later date. And yeah, all right, thank you. Okay, here's the dash. Got the padding and the fabric off. And I might make some changes to the radiuses on the opening. These are a little big for my taste. I think smaller would be better. And then I'm gonna be, since I'm not using padding, I'm gonna be sanding all these to a uniform radius. It's probably going to be the same. I'll probably change the radius in the corners on those. I'll sand it. I might even, if I've got any like leftover paint or some varnish or something, I might treat this, you know, to protect it from any kind of moisture. And then going to pick some sort of a new material. So I'll probably be bringing you back after I have the material, or if I've made some sort of progress on sealing and modifying this wood dash. So I'll bring you back. Okay, this is the beginning of the repairs to the original dash. I've kind of scored the new acrylic backlighting onto the wood, and I know I've got to remove the radiuses on these corners. Unfortunately, I have to add some material in other places. That's also the case here. I've already sanded these two corners, but I'll be adding material at the top. I'll be filling in the radio detent and a couple other things that I don't intend to use. So, yep, finally working on the wood dash. So, see if we can get this interior put back together. I'll bring you back. Okay, so I'm working on the center console, and it used to just kind of sit and move around inside the vehicle, and it's got that ugly puffy fabric I don't like, but I'm not going to recover it at this moment, but I would like it to fit better. It had a really bad shift boot on it that was haphazardly stapled on by a previous owner. And then I had two cut off mounting bolts, one here and the second one was here. Looks like they're just carriage bolts. I've had to pull the staples off around here to get to it. Like I said, these are cut off. So these go through the fiberglass tunnel on the car. And so my thought is I'm gonna at least throw some new bolts in it, and then they'll at least stick in the holes on the fiberglass tunnel between the seats, and then it won't shift around so much. But I need to pull a few more staples off to get to it, replace these bolts with some longer ones, and then that's all I'm going to do before the British car show in October. So I'm just trying to get a few things done before the car show, and I will in the future be recovering this, but not today. All right, I'll bring you back. Okay, so here's the current condition of the plywood dash for my TVR, and you can see I've done some repairs. I've filled in the space for a radio. I'm not currently planning to run one, and I figured since I wasn't going to be running any padding underneath the new vinyl that I should do some repairs. Otherwise I feel like any kind of a indentation or a disfigured section was going to show through the vinyl. So go ahead and filled that area, and then I've done quite a bit of work on both this switch area. You can see I've reconfigured the opening, and this switch area, and I've changed the radiuses quite a bit, and that's all part of the gauge or the switch illumination that I'm attempting to install. There's going to be more information on that, but I'm currently building up some layers of a clear coat on it. I'm going to sand it back. It's probably not needed, but you can, but maybe a little bit of waterproofing, whatnot, filling grain type of thing. I'll be sanding it back, and I've just got a couple of cans of clear that are super old, so I figured I might as well use it. I'm also not gonna be using the indicators. That upper one wasn't used to begin with, and I'm at a loss what the second one was, but it's something I decided I was not going to be installing. Again, maybe it was a seat belt. I think it might have been seat belt. Anyway, when I get the new wiring harness, I will not be using those. So this is the current condition of the dash, and I'm going to be sealing both sides, sanding it back, and probably the next time I bring you to this video clip was going to be when I'm applying the vinyl wrap to it. So I'll bring you back when I've got more to share. Okay, ready for the next step on this dash. I've got the dash wood repair as much as I'm going to. The radio is covered up. This wasn't used, but I filled it because without the foam covering it, I was afraid it was going to show through the vinyl. I'm not going to have a seatbelt warning. Recontoured this switch opening and recontoured this switch opening. I think the way I'm going to do this is I'll probably trim this vinyl, which is real similar to the original, a lot closer to this shape. And then I think what I'm going to do is I might clamp this in place, and I'll probably tape that down so that doesn't happen. What happened now? Yeah, so I'll probably spray half of this and the vinyl, and then lay it down, stretching it, and then when that's tacked up, then I'll flip the other side over and do it on a secondary basis. So let me go ahead and prep for the first one, and I'll bring you back when I'm ready to spray, and I'll show you what spray glue I'm planning on using. Okay. Okay, so I got this thing trimmed up a little bit, and then hopefully I've clamped the new material in place. I'm going to be gluing this in with this A1 foam and fabric contact adhesive. So I guess my plan is that I'm going to flip this guy over. And I think the idea is going to be to spray half the wood and half of the vinyl, and then roll this into place once it's tacked up, stretching it as needed, and then that'll be good. I can work on the other side. So I've got enough vinyl to try this again, but I'm hoping not to. So I'll be taking my time and letting that contact cement cure up. And I think I'll bring you back if there's something to show you. Otherwise, I might bring you back when I've got both sides adhered. So, all right, I'll bring you. Okay, so I decided to add some extra paper so I'm not going through my cheap tablecloths. Anyway, I've got half of it folded over and sprayed, and this is sprayed, so I'm going to wait a couple minutes until these are almost tacky, and then I'm going to pull it over top. All right, bye. All right, so I got it covered. Went pretty well. The material stuck down just fine. I thought I had made a pretty bad decision with that spray glue. It came out super stringy, like I don't remember what number 3M product that is, but there's a couple different 3M spray glues, and it shot out real stringy. And like I said, I wasn't using the foam, so I could kind of see the strings through the vinyl. And so I switched to this contact cement and then just did it a little bit at a time. I did the corners and, you know, trimmed it, applied contact cement, brought it over, then worked on another section. Worked out good, took forever. Like I said, I was concerned about the stringiness, but I think the glue has done something, dried or whatever, and I'm not seeing that like I did when I initially first put down the vinyl. So I think this is going to look pretty good. Didn't make any mistakes. I think I gotta go cook some dinner. So I'm gonna probably wait until tomorrow to start opening up these center sections, and I think I'll probably stick with the contact cement on those. So that's gonna be done just like you see I've done here. I'm gonna cut out a bunch of these openings and then cut little slits in them and start pulling them over and doing the flat sections last. And take my time. I don't want to screw this up when I got this far. So that's where I am on the dash, and I'll probably bring you back after I have all those opened up. All right, see you tomorrow. Okay, so this is the glove box door, and like the dash, it used to be big and puffy. Had this pad on the inside that you can see I've removed. The hinge is just this piece of plastic, and this edge was stapled to the bottom, and then the other edge is stapled to the plywood dash. And I don't know if you can see this, but this has been stitched all around. So you've got a front piece of vinyl and a back piece of vinyl. And I've been pulling these staples out around the edges and bottom, and I've successfully opened up the front and pulled the padding out. And I think I'm going to be able to just stretch this back in place and re-staple it back together. And I think it's going to have a nice flat appearance like my recovered plywood dash. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just reusing the same vinyl, and pull that tight, staple it all back together, and I think that's going to work out. So I'll bring it back when I got something else to show you. So here's the current condition of the dash. I'm really having a heck of a time matching these corners, and so I'm trying to, the corners don't want to stay glued, so I'm using cardboard to protect the vinyl and zip ties to try and hold the corners tight. It's especially difficult on this guy. The radiuses are tighter than they were from factory, and the vinyl isn't cooperating a lot. Hopefully this will be okay. The original vinyl was stapled, and I might put a couple of staples in a few places, but I'm using the same contact cement currently as I'd shown in an earlier clip. So I'm just going to keep taking my time and doing a little bit each evening, and hopefully I can have this thing back together and try and reinstalling it this weekend. So that's where I am with the dash. Let's see. Yeah, doesn't look so bad. We'll see. I've got enough vinyl to do it again if I have to. But I'll probably go with whatever this looks like for this upcoming car show, and if it really bothers me, then I can redo it at a later date. All right, I'll bring it back. I know it doesn't look like it, but I'm actually doing some work and organizing this mess. And prior to replacing the entire wiring harness, I think I might have a handle on putting this thing back together. And so let me move you back to where I'm at with the dash. Okay, here's where I'm at with the dash. It's looking pretty good. I think I mentioned that these inside corners are a total bitch. Yeah, maybe it's just this vinyl or whatever, but they didn't want to hold. But it's coming along, so I got them strapped. I'm giving it a couple days to for the glue to dry. Got the gauges in. That's mostly because the this vinyl didn't want to pull in tight for those gauges either, so I went ahead and stuck them in. Maybe sometime in the future I'll pull them apart and clean them up. Yeah, it's going okay. It's going well, I guess. I am kind of worried about this opening and this opening because I've changed the radiuses on those, but we'll see. I still have the tachometer to rebuild. I am going to pull apart the speedometer, and so you're supposed to be able to just spin the, you know, the ring, these tabs, and pull it apart. That didn't work out for me on the tachometer. That's going to be its own. That's going to be its own series or video. I'm hoping to shoot that this weekend because I got to put this thing back together. I'm going to replace the guts on the tachometer, but on the speedometer, here's a, I don't know if you can see that, but mosquitoes eat me constantly. Mosquito just flew in. Anyway, I'm hoping to spin this around, do a quick cleaning of the interior face of this, and then install it in the dash. But we'll see. You never know. I might have to bend those over. I might have to do more substantial cleaning on this. I don't know. But here's what the dash looks like. I think I'm pretty pleased with that. I don't have the glove box door in at the moment, but that went pretty well. Maybe you saw that in a previous clip. I just need to staple that plastic hinge into place, TVR special, but I think it's going to match well enough, and without the padding in there, I think it's nice and flat like this one. I think it looks a little more modern, so I shall bring you back when I have something more to show you. All right, thanks. Okay, here's the next stage. So I'm reconditioning the vinyl on the dash because I really hate this puffy condition from original factory. I think since I'm running out of time for my car show, I'm going to go ahead and initially leave this because this is kind of where your arm goes, and I'm going to evaluate whether I like this or not. But I have replaced the cut-off studs, and to do that, I've pulled this vinyl back so that I could get to the, these actually are just, what are the square head bolts. And so I was able to knock them out and get some new ones. And now I'm putting it back together. I think this is, I don't know, maybe like a little coin area. It had a puffy, it seemed like it wasn't working that well because, I mean, it wasn't that deep because of the additional padding here. So I am going to replace this section with a flat piece, and I may or may not reuse the original vinyl on it. It's just like a piece of, like, I don't know, tar board. I mean, it reminds me of, I don't know, like a plastic, or I don't know. Not sure what that is, but this is where the cigarette ashtray goes. And then it looks like I needed to replace the shift boot. So I bought this one real cheap on Amazon, and I'm hoping to install that in this open position. I'm going to be doing that with my staple gun. Maybe I'll probably just do it with staples because I'm not sure I'm going to stick with this padded center console. So maybe I'll just staple it like the factory did. These are the original staples, and here's a couple I popped in working on the air pressure. So I'm going to go ahead and recover this piece. I'm going to pull this padding off, clean it up, see about reusing the original vinyl, see about maybe doing some work on reinstalling the e-brake pad, and then installing the shift boot, and we'll see how well that goes. I'll bring it back when I have something to show you. Okay, so that turned out pretty well. As I mentioned in the last clip, I had to pull the vinyl off to replace these two bolts that the previous owner had cut short. This boot for the emergency brake was torn through. I've trimmed it up, added new staples to hold it taut, added the new shift boot, and then I've reinstalled the original plastic / tar paper. I have replaced the vinyl on it with the vinyl I'm using to recover the dash, and I've removed this padding. Let me show you what that looks like. So here's what it looks like. I thought this little, I don't know, I guess I'll call it a cubby area. I thought it was pretty funny because it was all padded, and it stuck up so much. It's like, what are you going to put in there? So I think pulling the padding off and then having a nice flat area, I guess you can put your phone or whatever in there, and it won't pop out. Like I said in a previous clip, I'm going to leave this puffy to begin with, for now. The shift boot, I think, looks close enough. Yeah, and then the ashtray now fits pretty smart. Maybe I should put some fake cigarettes in there or whatever. Oh, that's right. I need to get, there are tiny little springs on that guy. Maybe I'll just kind of glue it shut. I don't smoke myself, but yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how repairing the recovering and replacing some of the vinyl and the shift boots and everything went on this. So I'm going to leave it like this for the near future at least, and I'll move on to doing some more work on the dash so I can get this thing back in drivable condition. All right, thanks. Okay, so it's nearing the end of a weekend, and I've got this dash just about put back together. I've got the new vinyl cover on it, got the glove box back on it. If I was going to do this again, I don't know if you noticed, didn't think about the notch around the glove box there. This is the illumination that I've been working on. Got the negatives on there. Yeah, this has come along pretty good. If I were to do this again, I would definitely have chosen different locations for the positive and negative on that. That's pretty tight, but I think I've got it insulated enough. This is the ground, that's gonna be the positive. So definitely gonna use an insulated connector on that one. I'm gonna be redoing the electrical on this. Maybe I'll take a second attempt at the illumination on this guy. But pretty pleased with the way this is coming together. I'm doing a lot of soldering on the grounds and stuff. So I'm hoping won't have a lot of issues. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. Okay, so here's what the dash looks like. Got a little grease stains on the stuff, but so the switch, is set back a little further, and I've got some illumination that's in there now. I don't know. We'll see. I don't dislike how much further back this is sitting because of the illumination, but yeah, how about that? This is the original vinyl. Looks okay without, I was able to dig out that padding. as you know. Got it all reinstalled. I do like the look of this flatter section. Looks pretty good to me. Looks like maybe I'll put shorter screws in here. I think those would disappear. Yeah, I'm gonna replace those screws with shorter ones. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. And now I'm gonna be seeing if I can't put this back in and hooking up all that electrical again. So I'll bring you back when I've got something to show you. Okay, there it is. Another project complete. Here's the dash all put back in. A lot more stuff actually functional now. You can see the dash no longer has that puffiness that I was not a fan of. Yes, the center console still does, but you can see this parcel tray has got a nice flat section in it, so you can actually put something in there without stuff sliding around. The ashtray somewhat fits. I've got a new boot on the shifter. I'm very pleased with how this turned out. This is the original material on the dash, on the door, glove box door. Was able to just pull the padding off as you saw in an earlier clip. New hardware holding it in. I'm still gonna remake those other parts, the trim pieces, but yeah, looks really good. Super pleased with that. In an upcoming video, you will also see that I've done some work on the switch illumination. And so that's what that looks like. So look forward to seeing that video. Going to be editing that shortly. Pretty happy with how that turned out. So thanks for coming. I'm Steven with Demo Garage, and have a great day.